Hello kids, welcome to Learn Forward, your ever loved platform, and it's Anjana here, and we are starting with the series of computers, that is coding and computing skills by Ultra Learning for grade 8, and this is your chapter number 1, that's computer networking. So networking has a very important role when you talk about computers because it helps you in data exchanging. And you have already studied about what is internet. Yes, are you comfortable knowing it? And children, you have also learned that what are the different networks of road, networks of railway lines. Every time when you move on roads, when you move on railway lines, you could see each of them are sometimes crossing each other, sometimes they are going parallel to each other. Similarly, you are very familiar with the network of telecommunication and of course network of banks, schools, malls. So network word is basically related to interconnectivity of things. And relating to it, we are going to talk about computer network. That means connecting computers together. Then we talk about what are the different components when you connect your computer. So we say that the components of communicating in the networking and what are the advantages and what are the components of computer network. Then we are also going to learn different types of networks in this chapter, and of course we'll be talking about the network architecture, network topologies, and with this comes another very important aspect, that is security and the protocols to be followed when we work on networks. Beside this, we have accessing a file from the shared drive. So when the drive is Google Drive is, we are talking here about Google Drive. When the Google Drive is shared, how are we going to access a file in it? So very useful topics are going to come up, and time to boost up. Here we have some of the topics. You are going to just match them. This activity is for you. You will definitely have fun talking about it, that which of these are the websites for which purpose. Okay, and now we move and we start with a very interesting topic, that is computer networking. So children, when you talk about computer network, it is group of interconnected, interlinked computers and the peripherals which are connected to it. So we say that they can be connected through the data communication system, and computer network also allow us to share hardware as well as the software resources among various users working on different computers. So that means it's going to give the optimum output, because suppose you have one printer and that printer is being used by 20 users. Every time all the users are not continuously using the printers, right? So what happens, one printer is connected to different computers in a network. So whenever anyone wants the output, the command is given and that commands will take out the print. So that means that hardware printer is optimally used and we come out with the optimal solution by using single hardware at different devices. So we say the resources can be the data files, it can be the hardwares like scanners, printers, even the application softwares can be used. We are not going to install the application software separately, rather we have one server. In that server we install the application software, and that application software is used at different nodes. So this is all how it is being used, how it is connected, what topologies are used. We are going to learn all this in this topic. So we talk about computer network. Computer network actually facilitates the sharing of information through communication channels, and connectivity of the computer network can be wired or sometimes it could be even wireless. So the network can be basically of two types. First is public network. Like you all know, our life doesn't work without internet. You are very familiar with the internet. So we say that public network like internet. And another network that we have is a private network. We call it intranet. Sometimes we have another network, we call it extranet. Got it? So now we come and we talk about these different networks. So coming to the first one, it is internet, and internet is the network of computers all over the world. Now the word internet is formed by the joining inter and net, and that means international networking of computers. So inter means in between, right? So in between, that means this connectivity is in between, international. Okay. Now that means anybody across the world can access, can use internet, and that is the reason we call it public network, because everyone is going to pay for it and we are able to access the data which is available on the internet, and it is publicly open. That is the reason we call it public internet. Clear? And then we come to the private networks. The first one we have is intranet. Children, intranet is a private network which is within the organization, right? So intra is word which means within, and it provides the organization. So suppose there is an organization and they have their certain internal data, they have some files, they have some softwares which is to be shared by the employees of the organization. That means the resources, the information of each computer or user is transferred very quickly instead of sending the hard copy, and that makes sure that the data is only accessed by the authorized person. So it protects the data from any unauthorized person, and it is considered as internal restricted access network also. Got it? And then we come to another term, that is extranet. So of course, extranet is a private virtual space to securely collaborate and share the informations. So children, basically extranet user uses internet as a network to reach to the clients and the employees which are located at different geographical location of any organization. Now, extranet sometimes seem to be the extended and the extension version of the company which has intranet. So, intranet has a certain limited geographical location, but when you talk about extranet, extranet is a modified form of intranet. Got it? So, of course, when you work on any, that means any networking. So, this networking just reduce your cost, and it requires no expert, and of course the work is done with a little less investment. It also requires no special setup, and the user just need to sign up online and get the work started. Nowadays you might have seen that a particular office has the extended offices in different global locations. So when they want to just share the information, they want to access the information so that their data remains inside their geographical ranges and inside their official data. That means there you are going to just log in to your particular name, user ID with your password, and you get access to all the information related to that organization. So that is called the modified version of your intranet. Okay. Now here we have a pictorial presentation of the network. So when you talk about internet, internet is basically the cloud which provides you the feature to access the data. There is an internet server, and then there exists a firewall. This firewall will just put the restrictions to access of certain data where you do not want the data to be transferred, data to be accessed by the people. Okay. Now moving ahead, we move to a new topic, that is the components of communication network. So what are the basic components of the communication network? The first one is what is being communicated, that is a message. Then we say that the information to be communicated, to be sent, to be received is in the form of message, and this message can be in form of text, it could be in form of numbers, even it could be in the form of audio, it could be in form of video, it could be some images, and it could be even the combination of all these. So this is one of the very basic component of the data being transferred. We say these are the components of communication. How are you communicating? Either you are sending some file could be any word file, it could be any text, image, video. These are called the messages to be transferred. Then we say who is the sender of this message. So the sender is the device, the instrument, the login who is actually sending the message. And we also call it the source, we also call it the transmitter who is giving the message, right? After that, we come with another term, receiver. Which device, which instrument is receiving a message is called a receiver. And then we have a medium, children. What is medium? Here we have a medium. So medium is the pathway, the physical path that connects the sender and the receiver. And this medium actually help you to transmit the data. Okay. And this medium can be like, it can be copper wire sometime, it can be fire, optic cable, and any other media could be there. Similarly, we say it is also called the communication channel. That's another name given to the medium. So when you talk about medium, we have a medium which helps the sender. So sender actually just encode the data, and this data turns into a message and it is received by the receiver. So encoding means just converting the data into like analog form. There are two forms of data. One is a digital form, but when the data is transmitted from one place to another, the digital transmission is not done. This digital transmission is converted into analog data, and this is called encoding of the data. So data being encoded, and this encoded data once reaches the receiver is not able to access the encoded data, which is in the form of analog, and this particular data is first decoded by the receiver, and this receiving of data is converted into the digital form, and then if there is some problem, they are giving the feedback of the data that is received. So in this process, the entire communication network is accessed, right? Now we move ahead and we are going to talk about the advantages of computer network. Children, computer networking has just made the world so compact and very easy to communicate with each other, and the world has really started running so quickly with the help of networking. So we are going to learn what are the basic benefits of the network, because networking is something which increases the efficiency, which increases the economy and effectiveness, and which enhances the profitability in the most of the organization. So we are going to discuss some of the very important advantages of computer network here. So first of all, we come to communication. We know that we are able to conduct online conferences, online meetings, and we use computers to get connected with the help of network. And this helps us to send your emails, send your data just by few clicks of the button. So communication has become easy. We are able to conduct the conferences on live conferences by one person sitting at one corner of the world, another person sitting at another corner of the world without actually traveling. So that has really made the communication easy, which is only possible by computer network. Now we come to another topic, another benefit, that is connectivity. So children, basically interlinking of computer has allowed the efficient communication among the workers, and computers are helping the workers to communicate with each other, and they keep each other in loop, and every time they keep each other updated. So their interconnectivity has increased, which has helped them to update the important information immediately, which is coming from the resources. Either it is from top to bottom management or from bottom to top management, right? So everyone is connected, everyone is updated, everyone is informed, and that is increasing the connectivity of people in an organization, which is definitely affecting the easy flow and easy working of the organization. Then we come at exchange of information. That is another very important advantage of computer networking. So, we are able to send and receive the information without using any of the peripheral devices. Like earlier, what used to happen, very long back, we used to send the documents, and the files were sent in the form of the physical files. Later, the process just kept on changing. We used the pen drives, the floppy disk, the pen drive, then the data was sent even through the CDs, DVDs. Now, everything, every such transmission has simply converted, and we are able to just click the button, and the data is giving the rights to the person who is able to access the data. Every online updated data is reaching the authority. So that is keeping everyone updated, and exchange of information has become much more easier, much more faster, and that's all even beyond imagination. Now coming to the cost effectiveness. Yes, of course, the computer network has made the things very cost effective. So, the personal computers are so cheap, and it is at the reach of everyone. They have better performance ratio in computer to such big, large computers which we used to use, say, 2 decades back. And when you talk about the mainframe computers are like all obsolete now. We don't go for them. We are talking about the laptops. We are talking about the palm tops these days. So many prefer to maintain the computer network than the single centralized computer. Earlier, what used to happen, we used to have mainframe computer, and that mainframe computer, everyone used to go and sit there and work. And people used to wait for their chance. Now I will work. Now next time you are going to work on it. And everything has become obsolete these days. Now everyone is able to buy the computer, get it connected with the server of the organization, and they are able to access the computer data. So the work has become more efficient. Cost efficiency has been added to the work. Then we come into the reliability. So if single computer in the network goes down, it's not going to hamper the effective working of the organization, because all other systems are working. So the user can just go on another system, because the entire data is saved in the server, and there is no risk of loss of data. So we say no data will be lost. And we have the feature these days that whatever work you are doing, that's immediately going in the cloud, putting the backups. If you remember a few years back, when you used to change your mobile phone, you were so scared, how will this data transferred? How will we transfer all the contacts which are existing in the phone? But now Google has made things so easy. The things get synchronized the moment you you get connected with your new mobile phone. Just in few minutes, you'll see the entire data of your old phone is transferred to the new one and the synchronization is done. So this is called reliability. Okay. Then we come to the efficiency. Yes, of course, modifications and updation of data can be done just by the single point in the network, and this brings more accuracy and more efficiency in the working system. Suppose you are working on your Excel sheet. That Excel sheet is just uploaded. You are going to work on the Google Drive sheet. So what will happen? On the same sheet, everyone is able to update their record. And suppose there are 20 employees, all the employees are working on the same sheet, and promptly you'll observe that the entire one compiled sheet is ready because everyone is working on their system, putting their data in it, and the compilation of the work is done without actually doing the physical compilation. That means it's, of course, increasing the efficiency of the working of the organization. Then we come at redundancy. So as the data and the files are shared on the network, of course, the hard copies are reduced. And this reducing of the hard copy has eliminated the cost of course, the organization. And computer network also gives the access to the remote database. That's what I was just talking to you, that everyone has the access on the shared database, and they are able to put their data, they are able to read the data which other people are putting on it, and everything becomes so transparent. And then we say that easy access and maintenance of information is done with the help of using network. Talking about the storage media, the data and the files are not scattered, they are just compiled together, and they could be shared and they could be opened by different people on the same platform by using the network drive. And then we come on the hardware and the software resources. So this thing we have already discussed earlier, that the hardware and the software resources have been shared by people. So different people working on the network are able to use the same hardware, same applications, and then of course the cost cutting has come at the level. Now talking about the components of computer network. So when you want to establish the wired network in the group of computers, we require the additional component, and we are going to discuss those additional components here. So first thing is the workstation. Children, workstation are the different nodes which are attached to the main server. And we say a computer or electronic device which is connected to the network of the computer. We have one server at the center and different more computers which are not having their hard disk, which are having only the memory on which you are working, but the data is being stored in the server. We call those as nodes. So nodes work as a trans receivers. That means they are just transmitting the data, they are receiving the data. And we also call them with a new name, that is either you call them clients, sometimes you also call them workstation. Coming to the next term, that is server. So basically the nodes are connected to the main computer system which provides all the services, and this is called a server. A server is ordinary personal computer which is configured to work as a server, that is a central component, and which contains all the information which is being done on different nodes. Okay, so different computers are connected to it, and it can also be used to store the information which is shared by all computers on the network. And of course, has a very fast processing and high storage capacity. Now, these servers could be of different type. First is your database server. So children, this server, the database server, help you to store and manage large database so that the client can access the data. What is the client? Client is the node, the extension which is added to your server. And you know, Microsoft Access and Oracle, these are the examples of your database server. So after this database server, we come to the application server. Children, what happens? Application server has a customized application which help you to communicate with the node. So it reaches the required data from the database server and it provides to the node, that is the client. The data is being provided to the client with the help of application server. That means client doesn't have its own application separately. The application is contained in the server and all the nodes which are associated with that server are going to access the data from this application server, right? Now, Windows and Java and Hydrate, these are the two examples of the application server. Coming to the next one, we talk about the mail server. So, mail server is the internet-based server which help you to store, to send, to receive all the mails, and they are executed. They execute the other mail-related operations for the client also. When you talk about Yahoo, you talk about Gmail, all these are called the mail servers. So they have their own, they provide the authority to the user to make their own mail IDs and the passwords, and then you have your own email box where the mails are gathered, from where you could send the mail, from in which you could get the mail, and you cannot open it until you give the proper mail ID and their password. Okay, coming to the web server, this is also called internet-based server, which provides different web pages and the files to the client's web browser. Now we move further. We are going to talk about different networking cables. So I told you this networking cables actually connects your server with different nodes, and these are the networking hardware which connect one network device to the another network device, they are of different types. Now we are talking about the first one, that is twisted pair. We also call it unshielded or shielded cable. It is commonly used with the telephone lines. So they are like, you could see it, they are just a twisted pair of wires and different wires which are twisted together to separate them. You could see the red, the white here, you have white with the blue one, white with the green one. We have twisted wires. These wires are cheap and very easy to install, but it has very low data transmission speed. So we normally use such wires in the telephone lines. Then coming to coaxial cable, they are very popular cables which you could see in your TV wires. So these wires in the coaxial cable, there is a single wire which is blend and this is the wire which is blend and twisted one, and it creates the electromagnetic wave inside the cable, and they have very good transmission speed, and we use such cables in your television transmission. Coming to the another one, we have Ethernet cable. These cables connect the network devices like modems, routers, and even adapters. They have the data transfer rate up to 1000 megabytes per second. Okay, so these are the Ethernet cable. This is one of the Ethernet cable. Then we come to the fiber optic cable. This is the fiber optic cable, children, As you know, the name indicates that it transfers light instead of the electronic signal. So it can transmit large amount of data at a longer distance. And this is optical fiber. The glass is present at the center and the glass is covered with the protective material, and it is more expensive than the above three wires. So that could be the most expensive wire which you could use in your networking. Then we come to what is network interface card, that is NIC. As the name indicates, it is the interface between the mother card and the network cable. We also call it Ethernet card, or sometimes we also call it network adapter. So a computer must always have NIC, network interface card, which only help you to get connected over the network. And it is to be fitted inside your central processing unit. Okay, then we come to modem. The word modem just stands for modulator and demodulator. So modem is basically the device which converts your digital data into analog data, and the analog data is converted back into digital data once it is received as a message. Okay, and these are different images. This is NIC, this is a modem, and this is how the computer is connected with the different devices. So you are getting a message, and this message reaches the hub, and hub converts the message, and this message is transmitted to different nodes which are connected to the computer. Okay, now what is hub, children? Hub is a small, simple and inexpensive electronic device which connects different computers together. And what is the function of the hub? It is used to send out anything that comes in through to one port, from one port to all the ports which are attached to it. So with one hub, which is connected to the server, we could have different connectivity to different nodes. For example, you have some message that comes in through one port of a computer A. The hub sends it to all other computers which are connected to it. And each computer decides whether it is the targeted recipient of the message that is coming to it or not. So suppose a message comes from server to node B. So A and C and D are not going to receive it, only it is going to the node A. Okay, and if yes, it is responding, and other hubs, other ports are not responding to the message that has come from the hub. Okay, and now we come to switch. This is a switch, children. What is switch? It basically performs the same function that the hub is going to perform, but the role of switch is more efficient. So you could see there are different points. We call them the connecting slots, and it pays attention to the traffic that comes across this particular switch. So basically the switch identifies who is the sender and who is the receiver of the message, and with the help of the signals, the message is transmitted to the proper location where it has to reach. Unlike hub was going to transfer the data, and there the ports, the proper nodes were supposed to identify whether this particular signal is meant for it or not. But when the switch is connected, switch is actually censoring that to which particular node the data is to be transferred, and it is going to censor the data at this location only. It's going to control the traffic, and the data is very systematically transferred to the node where it has to reach. Okay, and this is all about how the switch transfers the data to different nodes which are connected to it. Okay, now we talk about the router, children. So what is router? Router is one of the hardware device which is used to exchange the data between different computer network, and instead of hub or switches it is used. So it basically works as a traffic controller of the data to and from the internet. and the function of the router is exactly same as the function of hub or the function of the switch. So what is the difference? The only difference is that the router forwards the message based on the IP address, while the switch forwards the message based on the hardware. And due to this difference, the router can just route the message between the similar networks instead of just to the local ones. So we say router is more efficient in compared to your hub or in compared to switch. Now coming to what is gateway, children. So as the name suggests, it is some of the hardware device that acts as a gate between the networks. So unlike your routers, the gateways are used to connect even the dissimilar networks in the same area. So it is used to make the communication possible between two networks with different architecture. So that means it defines how the devices are connected and protocols, which are, what do you mean by the protocols? Which are the rules that govern how the devices are going to connect to each other. Okay, so we have a router. So this router will just handle, suppose there is one phone, another mobile phone, and then we have a gateway. We have another switch which is connecting different computers which are connected to each other in the office network. Okay, and this is all you have learned about networking, but still lot more to learn, lot more to explore. The story doesn't end here. We are going to meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye and happy learning.